If there's one thing Democrats and Republicans in Kansas can agree on, it's that tax cuts are needed in the Sunflower State. But they have very different ideas on how to make that happen. Before the legislative session started, Republican House Speaker Dan Hawkins came here on the program, said that he wanted a flat tax passed in Kansas. Democratic Governor Laura Kelly called that a non-starter, and her recent veto survived an override attempt in a Republican-led legislature. So what happens now? Kansas has a multi-billion-dollar surplus, and the governor has said before that she would call a special session if a reasonable tax cut plan isn't passed this session. Of course, one of many major issues still left on the table in Kansas. Let's discuss with our roundtable of journalists. Please welcome back KMBC 9 political reporter Michael Mahoney and Pilar Pedraza, senior political reporter for Cake News. Thank you both for being here. First, let's talk taxes. Pilar, you're seeing some movement or maybe even some retaliation in Topeka right now.
Yeah, retaliation. There's no doubt there's some movement going on behind closed doors, not a whole lot that I've seen in the public at this point. But we have seen retaliation. Trevor Jacobs, State Representative Trevor Jacobs, he was one of the Republicans who voted against the override, was very vocal about it, got up and said, listen, I've talked to my constituents. This flat tax plan isn't fair to them, and that's why I'm voting against it this time around, even though I voted for it the first time around. And he has now been stripped of his assignment to the Committee on Federal and State Affairs, which is a very prestigious committee at the State House, does a lot of the most important bills that come through. And he has been removed from that committee, presumably because of that vote. It happened right afterward.
Yeah, that's a body blow for a career politician.
Yeah, as Pilar said, the Federal and State Affairs Committee in the House and in the Senate is a very powerful, influential committee. Lots of legislation goes through there, and for him to lose his seat on that panel in the House is a major blow to him and his stature in Topeka.
Now, let's talk a little bit more about just the issues that the governor wants through here. Obviously wants tax cuts, but she also, for a sixth time now, has been pushing for Medicaid expansion. We're now in the back half of this session. Does that happen? And can Republicans now use what happened as leverage to try and figure something out?
I'm not sure there's going to be much linkage to be honest with you. And the governor's plan for Medicaid expansion still seems like a long shot away. The leadership in the House and the Senate are saying they're just not interested in it, even though there's a recent poll that shows nearly 70% of Kansas voters, both sides of the line, support this, but it doesn't have support in the legislature, which is governed by the Republican leadership. And so unless there's movement among those folks to bring it out to a vote, I don't think it's going to happen.
All right. Hey, Pilar, important to note, too, even in the back half of this session, we're in a campaign year, right? So we're starting to see maybe some more of those culture-type issues take center stage in Topeka. What do you find?
Yeah, very much so. Turnaround week was last week. That's when officially the majority of bills, except for like budget and tax bills, are supposed to make it all halfway through the system to get to the governor's desk. In other words, it was introduced in the House. It has to be voted out of the House by the end of turnaround week. And yet we saw several bills just introduced that week, a couple of them getting worked this week in committee. And they were all on the culture war issues, transgender issues, abortion issues, book bans, stuff like that. So, and I do have a strong feeling, as I've talked to leadership and I've talked to various members, that more of these we're going to see worked in the next few weeks. And that will make them be some of the last headlines that folks see as we come out of the session going into that campaign. And it gives something to the Republicans to campaign on. Because right now, they don't have the tax cut that they want, and there's a good chance that they won't. But at the same time, they really don't want a special session because that's going to impede on their ability to campaign.
Turnaround day is supposed to be a major turning point, but the fact of the matter is whatever the leadership wants to bring up, the leadership brings up. Interestingly enough, in the last few days, medical marijuana has popped up in the legislature in Kansas. Now, Colorado and Missouri obviously have recreational marijuana right now. Oklahoma has a bill. Kansas is surrounded by several states that have it in one form or another. If medical marijuana gets through in Kansas, it won't look anything like it does in Missouri.
Right.
So we'll see. It's been brought up before. It's had some support, but it can never get enough support to get through both chambers.
Right, something we'll continue to watch as we have for years to see if anything would happen there in Kansas. Michael Mahoney, Pilar Pedraza, thank you. We'll be keeping a close eye on what happens this session and what it means for your money and your family. Look for coverage on air and online at KMBC.com.